Alright guys, we are back at it again on our Slayer album review series. We've got 2 to go, including the one we're reviewing here tonight. So we're really hyped to be getting, closing out this really fun and heavy journey we've been going on through. I plan to have, the next one reviewed by, about midway through the week, and then we'll probably end up ranking them this weekend. So we've just, it's been a blast going through these. But with that being said, we're looking at the final album of the 2009's World Painted Blood. And really cool art. I mean, probably not their most craziest looking art, but it's got kind of like this slip cover thing in it, like that you can take out, and behind it lies like this, which is just really cool. But not my favorite album art of theirs. Really simple, but I mean, it's simple but effective. It's a solid album cover. Get this thing back in here now. Alright, but yeah, not only is it the last album of the 2000s for the band, but it's also the last album to feature all 4 original members. Tom Araya on vocals and bass, Jeff Hanneman lead and rhythm guitars, Kerry King lead and rhythm guitars, and Dave Lombardo on drums. So this is kind of like a milestone, for the band here. And we kick it off with track number 1, the title track, World Painted Blood. Wow. I mean, damn near might be the best track off here. They, I'm sure they didn't really know this was going to be their last album with all 4 of them together. But, in retrospect, it's like, wow, this feels like a very fitting opening, and just an incredible opening to what would be, their last album altogether. But just incredible song. You've got like the really cool, just cool shred stuff going on. Then it ends up going into this really badass breakdown but like this really cool like spoken word portion of the song. And the chorus is really hooky. The melodies are great. And the best part for me is when you get to this breakdown that sounds very similar to Angel of Death. I mean, my God, just wow. That does it right there. I mean, it's quite a lengthy track for the band. It's like 5 minutes and some change. So it's one of the lengthier ones that they've done, and probably the lengthiest one off this album. But just an incredible song. One of my favorites by them, by the band. Period. And obviously that makes it one of the best off this album. So then we get speedier with things here, which this album overall kind of they picked up the speed yet again. It's just full-fledged, just fast on a lot of these, and it's incredible. They really went, especially it being with all the gang back together on this one. It's this almost feels like Hell Awaits Part 2. The way in a way. I mean, those albums, they do have kind of totally different vibes going on, but as far as like the way some of the tracks are paced, and Unit 731 is a good, is a good kind of example to show this, because I mean, this is just a blast of a track, very fast, very aggressive, very heavy. Tom just shouting at the top of his lungs. Really fun stuff off here. Probably, it may even be my least favorite off here, Unit 731. But I still, like I just said, I think it's a solid track. Really good stuff. But it is my least favorite off here, I'd say. Then we bleed over into track number 3, Snuff. And man, this is a big standout on here. It just starts off just shredding. Like, I mean, nuts. Just noodling and shredding all over the place. And you've got, they're using more of that wah-wah pedal, which I think adds to the chaotic nature of a lot of Slayer tracks. This being one of them. Really cool lyrics on here. Cool lyrical themes and everything. And just super heavy, fast stuff yet again, but I just love how that starts off like you don't even get a second to breathe, just bam, they're shredding right off the bat. So Snuff is a really cool song. Then we go to Beauty Through Order. Man, oh man, this one has got this one has more of a groove to it, and it is just a brutal track, a really dark kind of riff going on, and the lyrics, the vocals are kind of turned down lower, it seems. Obviously at first things pick up as Tom gets louder and louder throughout the song, but it's got a really cool riff to it as well. Big highlight off this album, Beauty Through Order. Then Hate Worldwide. This one's a quick, just kind of a jarring little burst of energy here. Love this one. This is one of my favorites off here. Really fast stuff. I think it kind of had the same structure in a way of Unit 731 off here, except I think it just did it much better as far as being like a really fast and heavy track that's just to the point and done. I mean, Hate Worldwide, just the title says it all there. Just incredible stuff. Badassery. They're pissed off at the world, at least as far as this song's message is concerned, but really cool song, and one of my favorites off here, just ultra heavy stuff. Then we got Public Display of Dismemberment. Really cool in here. I like the chorus a lot on this one, and the way this one just kind of builds is really cool, and the lyrics, again, the lyrical themes they're really cool on this. You don't get they're not really doing a lot of the satanic stuff on this one, just talking about, I mean, there's a little bit of that on this one, but more so, about world problems and everything, as we'll kind of see going on here coming forward on this album. But yeah, Public Display of Dismemberment, solid track. Then we go to Human Strain. This one is one of my favorites off here. Man, this is quite the track. Just evil, dark lyrics, talking about, draining the blood from the unborn, the evil, it's just some dark stuff, man. And, raising the dead back to life. There's just some creepy stuff up in there if you read into the lyrics there. Can't remember any of them right at the top of my head, but and I love the way the breakdown of this is one of the most memorable parts in this whole album. It's like this kind of a echoey kind of sounding guitar. It's all quiet, and you hear that kind of do its thing and kind of go up and down. Then you get a huge just strum of a chord by either Hammond or King, and then that kind of echoey little riff is going on above it, and then you get Araya just yelling and his voice just rising and rising. Just love that song. That one and the title track are up there, some of my favorites for sure. Then we get American. Talking about world's problems. Like, one of the lyrics in here, I remember it just straight up says it's all about the fucking oil. So pretty funny stuff. And just really. I mean, I guess it's not meant to be satirical, but it's just it's funny because it's like they just call it out how it is. But yeah, American's a really cool song with a lot of insightful lyrics, kind of like all about the fucking oil. And there's some other stuff mixed in there that just is really interesting as well. But American also is a huge highlight off here. Psychopathy Red is the next one. Damn, what a good one. I mean, we're getting to the tail end of this album, and we're still not had a miss. This is just one hell of a track. No fans or buts. Psychopathy Red is one of my, I'd say that's one of my favorites off here. The chorus is really good on this one. Then we go with Playing with Dolls, which it's kind of creepy. Even like the way it starts, kind of a spoken word kind of part to it. And this one, the way it kind of progresses on forward, just really cool stuff. And I also forgot to mention on Psychopathy Red, you hear Tom Araya almost freaking let out a whole scream on that one, like it's nuts. So that near the end of the song, it just, it takes it to another level on that chorus. But anyways, yeah, Playing with Dolls, another really good track that gives kind of a spooky vibe to it with its kind of spoken word parts, which you get a few times on here. But that eventually bleed into these massive speed fests. But yeah, we close it out with Not of This God. Solid track, very solid track, but not one of my favorites off here. I'd say Unit 731 and Not of This God are probably my least favorites off here, but they're not bad tracks at all. Like, I think it's a decent closer. Doesn't do anything wrong, but it doesn't do anything too particularly great for me. But it is a good song nonetheless. So what does that make this overall? All that stuff right there just makes it a freaking great album to close out, the 2000s for these guys, and to close out their final album with all 4 original members, which, of course, the way that would kind of go would be Jeff Hanneman unfortunately passed, so he wouldn't have him join on that last album. And, I guess Dave left for whatever reason as well, probably because he didn't want to play without Hanneman, which you can't really blame him there. But the band continued on. Next time we get on Repentless, which we'll be looking at, we get Gary Holt from Exodus. So, I mean, who better than to, join the gang than a thrasher like Gary Holt? Then, of course, Paul Bostap's on call. They get him back in there for Repentless. But, yeah, I think this album stands out to, as being the band's, last time we heard all 4 of them together on an album. And they knocked it out of the park, no doubt about it, with a lot of cool stuff on here that just is straight up Slayer. Nothing too experimental on here. They do a little bit of interesting stuff there that maybe they haven't done a lot of, with like kind of the spoken word parts. That's on kind of it's not even full spoken word. It's more of like, it's just Tom like dark kind of singing, I guess, right? But they do that on like 2 or 3 songs here that just make it really, really cool. And I know they've done it a few times before, but it really stood out in this album. And just a lot of really cool and crazy riffs we got from Hanneman on his last album. And just awesome solos. Awesome album all around. World Painted Blood, guys. So yeah, I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on this one right here, and what you guys maybe thought about the band's last go at it, all 4 together. And should they have continued and made that last album Repentless? Or should they have just let it go? Should they come back for another album? Should Gary Holt, who would you have wanted to join the band on the album after this? There's some interesting stuff to be talked about with this thing. But, again, absolutely awesome album. Even the weaker ones on here, I think they're still awesome. So, yeah, guys, stay tuned next time when we review our final Slayer album. We look at 2015's Repentless, the last Slayer album before we rank them all. And, of course, eventually announce the next band that we'll be looking at on that ranking video. So stay tuned. We got a lot of exciting stuff going on. Like, subscribe, and comment. Thanks, guys.